Alright, so this is my grow box with corn. Obviously this is corn, and this variety is called 2-inch strawberry popcorn. We're going to end up with about 5 or 6 ears on each stalk. We see some ears forming here, down here, over here. Looking pretty good so far. Kind of surprised they got this big given how little room there is for their roots. Well, it looks like the ants found this guy. The ants like it. There must be some corn sugar in there. They're enjoying themselves. Down here we have an empty box ready to plant. Probably going to put lettuce in that. And this is my never-ending basil. You see the big wooden stalks here. They had at one time were about 4 feet tall and started to bend over, so I just lopped them off. Some of them died, like these guys. These died, but the rest of them all sprouted fresh again. So now we're getting some nice, young, vibrant basil, and it tastes really, really good. Get rid of that stuff there. This is a couple of cherry tomatoes. This is a variety that I had the most success with this summer. I had 2 plants set up similar to this, and they were my only tomato plants that didn't die by falling over. They actually died of old age, and they yielded, oh, it must have been, 50 dozen cherry tomatoes, about as big around as a quarter, maybe a little smaller, some of them. Really, really good heirloom cherries. So these are still a month or 2 away from having any ripe fruit. They're just starting to set some fruit down here, you can see. There, a little bit there. And I'm using a reinforced staking kit here, one of the staking kits that collapsed under the weight of my earlier tomatoes. I took some cross members from it and cable tied them to the cross members of this kit to see if I can make them rigid enough to stand the weight of the plant. I also put some central supports in here and then tied them to the staking kit, so they're pretty sturdy. I'll try and keep the plant tied up to that central support, and hopefully between all of this, these guys will stay vertical. I may have to prune them for height too, since the support only goes this far, which is about 4 feet above the grow box. These are some bell peppers, green that turned to red. I'm surprised they only got this tall. I expected them to get a little taller, but they are putting out nice sweet fruit. Not a lot yet, but we've harvested a few and they've been very good. There's one in the back there that's kind of behind. And then across the aisle here we have the big peppers. These are the ones in this front row are called ancho or poblano. I forget which is which, but it's the same pepper. One name is used for the pepper when it's in dried form, and the other one it's in fresh form. This is one of the kinds of peppers they use to make chili rellenos. It's a mildly hot pepper, weaker than a jalapeno, a little more interesting than a bell pepper though. And we've harvested quite a few of these for little gift baskets so far for people. I've made several gift baskets with just herb bundles and peppers. And over on this side we have jalapeno, and there's a nice big poblano back there. You can see him looking good. And here we have some jalapenos growing. You can make them out. It's kind of hard to pick them out with all the green background. My hand in the back, you can tell what we have here. And these are coming in pretty well now. There's another little ancho that's doing really well. I'll get you a clear shot here. There we go. That guy's looking pretty good. And we come around the other side. That is a celery plant. That big old thing is celery. And in the morning it kind of droops down, and then as it gets cooler, it gets a little stronger and it stands up again. In the morning all these will be vertical again. And this is about 2 feet tall. These grew really, really slowly, and we have only very, very slender stalks, not like I'm used to. Though they were supposed to grow big, just something different happened here. And we don't need a lot of fresh celery, but I cut down one of these plants and got several, 4 or 5 pounds of celery stalks and leaves, and Jan put them in one of her stews and made it immensely flavorful. Really, really good. So it was well worth it. This is where my first crop of cherry tomatoes was growing. I finally took them down after they were fully dead. I got to replant this. I got to renovate it and get it ready for lettuce or garlic. I may put garlic in this one. This is a grow box in 2 pieces. This is one that had tomatoes in it, and the tomatoes overpowered the support and just pulled the entire box, with 1.5 cubic feet of potting mix and 4 gallons of water in it, toppled it right off of the shelf onto the ground. And I was able to pull off about 2 dozen tomatoes that weren't damaged, and probably about half of those are ripening inside. The rest are too young to ripen, I would imagine. And over here we have a watermelon in a grow box. There's several plants here, and all the fruit. We have a little fruit here on the front. You can see this little guy, little bitty guy here, and he's been that size for a while, so he's probably not going to grow. But back here in the back, we have something that looks a lot more promising. This guy here, this is called a Shiny Boy hybrid. I'm not quite sure how big they're going to get, but next year I'm going to grow personal-sized ones that come in a little faster. I planted these a little late in the season, so it remains to be seen whether there's going to be enough growing time for them to do well. It's my experimental year. So, that's the watermelon. This is flat leaf parsley in a hanging pot. Got a little hanger here with 4 things hanging from it. Over here we have peppermint, and most of this I started from seed. I also transplanted a little plant I got at the grocery store, but that one's all gone. This is all from seed now, and just the air smells like mint whenever I do this. It's so nice, very nice. These bags here are the ones that have strawberries planted in them. They didn't produce much this year, so I don't think this is a good way to grow them. But perhaps I wasn't feeding them right. I'll have to look into that. I'm growing cilantro in these containers here. I've already harvested this one once. And this one I actually planted with seed that I harvested from my first batch of cilantro. Some of it went to seed, and I just waited for it to turn into coriander and harvested those and then planted them, and that's where these plants came from. And these are about ready to harvest now. We've already harvested the front. And this one, you can see furrows in it. This one's getting ready to be replanted also. Over here on the patio, I've got another ancho. I had one more plant than I could fit in the grow box over there, so this one got a 5-gallon container all its own. And one of my trees came in this, and it's doing well. It's got there's some decent fruit coming out on it. There's a pepper here and a couple down here. These are actually looking pretty good. This one's getting plenty of air. And these are the herbs. Chives, of course. This is called prostrate rosemary. It kind of, rather than growing straight up, it cascades over the edges, and it's eventually going to go into a hanging planter. And I expect that one will grow as a perennial. It'll just keep growing and growing if I don't kill it. This is oregano, 3 different kinds of oregano. Common, Turkish, and there's one other one whose name I don't know. This is Russian tarragon, and I don't even know what that tastes like, but Jan wanted tarragon, so there it is. And here we have sage. I grew all but this plant from seed. One of them is a little plant I got at the produce department at the grocery. These are coming in really, really good, very, very aromatic. And this is French thyme. This is great stuff. It smells so good. We've been using a lot of this. And then over here I have some what are called Danvers half-long carrots, which I intentionally planted crowded to get a lot of them, and I harvest them when they're little and give them to the guinea pig. Here's one right here. See how those are coming in. I just rinse them off, and as soon as she hears me come in from the outside and run the water, she knows I'm rinsing off carrots for her, and she starts squealing. So she's pretty well fed. That's going to be her snack this afternoon. And over here is the world's saddest looking cantaloupe. This was looking really good until about a month ago, and it got overtaken by powdery mildew, something that shows up on a lot of my broadleaf plants here. And the mildew just kind of chokes the surface of the leaves and prevents them from doing photosynthesis, and they die. But there's still a few leaves out there, and sure enough, the melons are still growing, so something's making some food for them. So I'm just letting these go for now until just to see how far they'll go. I planted these really late in the season, so I'm not surprised they didn't do all that well. It was an experiment. Next year, these will go in the ground in the early spring. We can do that here. So you can see some of these melons. They've got the webbing starting, and they were looking promising. Over here I have a couple of empty boxes. They have staking kits on them, and I ran some string vertically on them because these were vining plants. I had green beans in this first one and sugar snap peas in the next one, and they just didn't take off. I don't know if there was a blight or the wrong time of the season, but they were looking bad, so I tore them down. We'll replant those with cool weather crops pretty soon, either lettuce or turnips. All on this side, these are there's 3 planters here with each have 2 Cherokee purple heirloom tomato plants, and these were probably left in their seedling pot too long, and they did too much aging without enough time to spread their roots, so they're not doing quite as well, but they've set a bit of fruit, enough to keep going. You can see there's one here that's looking nice, and these are very, very tasty tomatoes, though they usually have blossom end rot. If we look underneath here, you see this one has some blossom end rot. And so long as the bugs don't go in there, the blossom end rot isn't a problem. We can just cut it off. It's localized. And the fruit's really good. See, over here we have one of Dad's squirrel feeders. And that's where I plan to put some of those ears of strawberry popcorn when they finally come in. When Danny was here, he put a cherry tomato on there, which the squirrels did not eat. It's the end of the tomatoes there. And this was a tomato planter until they fell over. This is my last one that fell over. So I'm getting him ready to replant. And then over here again, this is a bell pepper called a quadrato. And these grow to be large and blocky and yellow, about 4 inches tall. And very thick meat, very good for stuffing, I'm told. And they seem to be doing okay. We'll see how they come in. There's some fruit down here you can see. Looking pretty good. And then this is the big dog of the garden right now. These are my cucumbers. These are sort of like the English cucumbers called hothouse cucumbers you see in the store wrapped in plastic, except they're not hothouse, obviously. And these are, I've been harvesting 3 or 4 of these every couple of days and giving them away. They're very good. The skin's a little bitter, but you peel that off and got some really good fruit underneath there, especially with just a little bit of salt. These are about 4 plants here, and you can see they're climbing up the strings that I set, and looking really good. Even though they got some of the powdery mildew, but not enough to kill them off. And by putting them up off the ground, rabbits can't get to them. They can't hop up on the shelf. And by placing these little swinging leftover compact discs on here, that keeps squirrels away. They don't care for the motion or the flashy lights. And that seems to be a real winner for keeping them away. A friend of mine uses that technique to keep birds out of his fig tree. It works for squirrels too. So, that's a little natural history tour of my garden. You ought to come see it.